Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show, Autumn is Here. I am your host, Francine Crawford, and today we have a special guest. His name is Jack Halpern, and he is a elder advocate, and his company is My Elder. So let's welcome him to the show. Welcome, Jack.
Yeah, thank you very much, Francine. I really appreciate you having me on the show. That's great. I heard a lot about your podcast. Good things, of course. So thank you. Thank you.
Well, first, tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. I've been an elder advocate for about 51 years. And I started by working in nursing homes. And throughout the years, when I was in my first nursing home, I said, "Hey, Jack, you're crazy." I was 24 at the time. And I said, "What are you going to do? Work in a nursing home that's, it's such a young guy." But eventually I started to meet with the residents and have lunch with the residents and sort of hang out with them. And I found their stories and their lives so interesting that I decided that this was probably what I was meant to do. So I worked for a number of years in nursing homes. I became an administrator, and I worked for many years. Then I went out on my own, became a consultant to help families to kind of navigate the system and make sure that elders get that their rights are adhered to and taken care of, and that they get quality care.
Okay, so an advocate for an elder person is someone who makes sure that they get the things that they need.
Absolutely. Elders need somebody who's familiar with the system, who can help them to, get things taken care of. So an advocate will come into a hospital and help people to make sure that they get into a decent nursing home, or help them with paperwork, or help them, communicate with doctors and with staff. So there's a lot of things, and most people who get into the system, and most of us will, either you break a leg, or you have a stroke, or you become dehydrated and you wind up in a hospital. Most of us don't know anything about that world. You get into this Netherlands, and you need somebody to guide you through, just like an accountant. You need an accountant to guide you through your taxes and your accounts, and an attorney to help you with legal issues. So an elder advocate is that person who helps you navigate that system and make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
So when did you actually decide to develop a company that's going to help out for elder care?
After I was worked in nursing homes and ran a number of nursing homes, and I ran very high quality nursing homes, I was very serious about it and very actively involved in making sure that my residents get the best care. I decided that I would like to go on my own and help a lot of people, as opposed to just running a facility with all the paperwork that an administrator has to do and all the all those extra things. I wanted to really get out there and start helping people, because I always felt that I was uniquely qualified to help people through the process and make sure that in whatever situation, they're going to get taken care of. So to me, it's not just talking to them about it. I actually do the work. So, I will deal with the nursing home. I will deal with the hospital. I would deal with the assisted living facility. to make sure, hey, you have to take care of my client. You have to take care of everyone in your facility, but my client you have to take care of because I know what's going on. I know the laws. I know the problems you have. I know everything that I need to know to make sure that they're getting good care.
So tell us some of the services that you give them and some of the challenges that you may have had during the years.
Sure. Usually my clients they become clients usually when an elder goes into a hospital. So, your aunt can be sitting with the ladies and having a card game and knocking back a couple of Heineken, and she goes to the kitchen for some more chips, and she falls and she breaks her hip. All of a sudden, she's gone from one world to a completely other world. So she will go in the hospital, and the hospital will almost immediately begin to plan her discharge. Okay, and when I say discharge, most people have to go to a rehabilitation. If they broke a leg, broke a hip, or they had a stroke, okay, so they're already planning to put them into a nursing home. And most of them are not very concerned as to the quality of that nursing home. They're just interested in making sure that there's an empty bed for them. And then they will tell the family, okay, they have a certain amount of days, which applies to everybody. They use a guide. So a broken hip is, let's say, 6 days in the hospital, and then you go, it's the same for everybody. Now, this person may not have recovered or may be recovering very slowly. All right. So anyway, so your aunt has a lot of things to decide, and you, if you're taking care of her, have a lot of things to decide, and you start getting people coming at you. You got to sign this, you got to sign that, you got to give me this information, you got to give me that information. And they tell you, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to. And the answer is, you don't have to. Okay, it's just that they are people in authority, and people generally say yes when a person in authority is telling me you have to do this. So anyway, so I'm there. I come in the beginning of the process and I make sure that the paperwork's correct. I make sure that the paperwork that's going to the nursing home correctly, is what that patient truly represents. All right. And there's a whole bunch of various problems. So I do that and make sure. And if they're going to go for rehabilitation, I make sure they get into a good place. And then I become their advocate in the rehabilitation facility to continue. And I make sure that everything is taken care of. I go to the meetings that they have when they discuss the patient with the family. This is all with the family. So we make sure that this continuous good health, and to get this person home or to get them to an assisted living facility. Okay, we don't want them to stay in a nursing home. And so we go along the process, and then when they come home, we take care of the home care, and we make sure that they get home care aides that are not just sitting and watching TV, that they're actually taking care and that they're ambulating the patient, the client. And so there's a whole series of things that must be done for this person to get back to good health or decent health.
I'm hearing a lot of concerns in what you're saying, like even the care, like when something happens and you go into a facility, instead of taking the individual case and the healing process and what's happening, they have a certain amount of days that you stay there, and then they move you on to the next step.
That's
And
correct.
without it, it being personal for that person.
Right.
And is that by law?
Well, many people don't realize when they buy insurance to protect themselves. Well, of course, everybody has Medicare. Different Medicare policies, there's hundreds of them, different policies. And what happens is different policies cover different things. So some policies will cover 21 days. They can't learn to walk in those 21 days, especially the first days when they're on all these medications to kill the pain. They can't really, they're so zombied out that they can't really do rehabilitation. So, so other policies say, hey, you can have 4 weeks. Medicare straight, if somebody has straight Medicare, and they have a supplemental Medicare policy, and I'm not going to go into the details of each, but people should, make themselves aware and I could advise them, but get that professional to tell them what each Medicare plan covers. And so it really depends on how much they allow. Now, once those days are gone, they look to either kick them out of the nursing home and send them home. And if they can't go home, they will look for another nursing home. It's a whole process. Or a daughter or a niece, like in that example, goes to the nursing home and they tell her 2 days, you got 2 days to take her home. Now, we can't go home. We don't have we have stairs. We don't have a bedroom downstairs. We're not equipped. We don't have all the equipment. So again, they need somebody who tells them every step of the way what you're going to need, how to get it, okay? And I make sure that no one leaves a hospital or nursing home unless they are able to leave, well enough to leave, and they're going someplace that, again, is a good place.
So do you work with the city at all?
No.
Not at all?
I'm a private company. I'm a fee-for-service company, so I do charge my clients a fee. I don't take insurance. But again, my fees are very middle-class type fees and affordable. And when you see how cheap my services are relative to how much value they get from it, it's a no-brainer for them. So, I try to work with people and, so that they can afford it. But again, if I were to work for free, I could work, entire 24/7 by 365. And I really, I'm saying so. It is a fee for service, but I don't work with the government. I don't accept Medicaid or Medicare. But
Okay, so what would you say to someone who is at the point where they may have to put their loved one into a nursing home? Will you help with how do they look for a nursing home and things like that, and helping them in some way?
Okay, well, when it's at that time where they're already looking for a nursing home or they're in a hospital, and they're in a hospital already, and the hospital's talking nursing home or home care or whatever, they're already past the point of getting the right help. Okay, there's a planning process. Everybody has to do planning. And when do you do planning? when nothing is happening. You're not sick, you're you're well, okay? That's the time to get together with your family, okay? Go over all the medical situation, the financial situation, who's your lawyer, who's your accountant, and everyone has to be working as a team. And I assemble a team, of this person's relevant, disciplines, like the accountant, the lawyer, all these people, and I do a extensive planning process so that I can tell these people, you have this, you don't have this, you need this, you need that, you need that. I can really map out to a very strong degree of accuracy how their lives are gonna, if it goes the way most people's lives go at that point in life, I can pretty much predict within some certainty as to how it's going to go for them. So that's why I try to straighten it out. But if they're already at this, and most of my clients do call me in time of crisis, they heard about me and a friend knows about me. I do a lot of internet work and social network, all that stuff and networking. So when they hear about me, I can still solve the problem at hand and still do the work that I have to, but it becomes rushed. I have to rush. I have to fight with people. I have to start, Some people are already, they call me the day before their elder is supposed to leave the hospital. All right, so I literally have to call the hospital and say, my client is not going to this nursing home. Oh, yes, she is. She has to leave. The law says, I said, I know the law, and she's not leaving. And if she insists, then I will call the nursing home and I will tell the nursing home, my client's not coming to your nursing home because usually it's not such a good place. Okay. And then I have to work in a rush and I don't like to do that. But anyway, that's the way people are. They don't plan for things until they're in the hole already. They're in the rabbit hole.
So is that your biggest challenge?
That is my biggest challenge. People do not understand. We're all taught by the media, by articles, all this stuff. We're all programmed that when we get to this point in life, Medicare is going to take care of us. And it's not true. It's very far from the truth. So people become complacent. Okay. And then when they get into the situation, they say, what? Medicare doesn't pay for what? Okay. What? I got a supplemental policy that covers 21 days. What am I going to do? So that's why we need people to educate us beforehand. And then there's always the disparity between, poor and wealthy. Okay, so if you take two women, one woman, elderly woman, has money, okay, and she can go into a beautiful assisted living facility, and be treated like royalty, and you have the other woman who has no money. She's on Medicaid, okay. Uh, she's gonna have to go to a nursing home, okay. So that disparity, and there are other disparities, there's white and Black and Hispanic who go to the worst nursing homes and get taken care of very badly. But anyway, so that's what the point is. Plan, plan, plan. So when you plan, and then you've planned it all out as much as you can, and something happens, they have me on speed dial. Hey, Jack, mom's in such and such hospital. Said, okay, we get into action. Don't sign anything. Don't give them any information that they're not entitled to other than the medical information that applies to this particular incident. People go into hospitals and they give away all their financials. So let's say somebody goes into a hospital and had $2 million in the bank. You know what's going to happen? That social worker who's trying to place her in a nursing home is going to call her buddy in one of those inferior nursing homes and goes, I got somebody here with a lot of money that could probably be able to pay privately. Don't give them this. None of their business. I tell them to do that, and then I come in, I speak to the discharge planner, and the discharge planner learns how I operate.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And they're telling me, no, we can't do this, we can't do that. Well, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. And then by that time, when a decision has to be made, it's smooth. They call me Jack Smooth. Okay, because I'm smooth. That's actually a real rapper's name, not the Jack part. Okay, so it's, and there's no one in the country that's really doing what I'm doing. I mean, I deal with a lot of problems that nobody deals with, not attorneys. And a lot of people say, why do I have to pay you? I'll go to an attorney. Actually, nursing homes don't fear attorneys. They fear me. Okay? Attorneys don't know the laws and don't know the tricks of the trade. So they're going to send them a letter, and by the time they send them a letter, and they're going to take the letter, they're going to throw it in the garbage, and then they're going to call their high-powered attorney who they have on speed dial, and before you know it, all the damage is done, and they're going to charge them 10 times what I charge. So.
Okay, let me ask you, you have a lot of experience in this field for years, and I know you've seen a lot of differences and some changes. Would you say things are better or worse than years ago?
Well, there are certain things that are better, okay? But it's I would say that it's pretty much a status quo, and it's I don't want to like to scare people, and that question is like, the government, people have to get out of their way of thinking that the government is going to help us. The government helps us in certain respects, but the government has its limitation in what it could do. All right? My hope is that, depending on the politics, which we won't discuss, I mean, we have a candidate that's actually talking about helping the elderly, and another one who couldn't care less. So the government, even at this time when it's important for presidential candidates, other candidates, to be talking about the elders, no one's talking about it. So it's very difficult, because if the government is not planning ahead, then as things deteriorate, if they deteriorate, But I see that there's more people are beginning to stay healthy enough so that they could go to assisted living. They have assisted living facilities, for instance, that are taking Medicaid, which are better than nursing homes. But again, I mean, it's a tough situation, and I don't want to sound like an advertisement, but I don't care if it's me or somebody else. People have to ask advice, and they have to find out. If you have your mom has to go to a nursing home, here's what I would do. Your mom has to go to a nursing home, and you see that there's a nursing home that's pretty decent, and you go there to visit. You go to visit, and then become a volunteer. Take a couple hours and volunteer, and see what's going on in the place. Like this, when you're in a hospital, when your mom's in a hospital, God forbid, you know the place. You call up your buddy who's you're working with in the nursing home, and you say, is it possible for, mom's in the hospital, she needs rehab, can she come to your place? People have to become knowledgeable. Now, when all this happens, you're not going to look on the internet and find the answers. So you can look on the internet, for 3 months, and you're not going to find the answer because the internet only tells you how it's supposed to be. It doesn't tell you how it is. What I want people to come away with from this discussion is that they have to be aware. They have to make that's the time to go on the internet. That's the time to research. What do I do when mom gets sick? What do I do? What can I do to keep her health better? What kind of doctor, what kind of medicines are out there to keep people? What are things that people do? There's so many podcasts, and they're, probably not as good as yours, but there's so many podcasts out there that have all kinds, getting your information from podcasts, I have found, is you find the right podcast and you find a bunch of people on that podcast who you determine are honest, they're going to tell you the right stuff, and they're going to give you the right advice. So you have to be aware. You have to go to meetings. There's a lot of senior meetings, support groups around. Go to support groups. Okay, get a geriatrician instead of a regular doctor. Okay, if you have Medicare, you can go to any doctor you want. Don't do it. Go to a geriatrician. Geriatrician is qualified in matters geriatric. All right? When you have a stomach problem, you go to a gastroenterologist because he knows more about the stomach than a regular doctor. If you can do it, make sure that you have the right paperwork, the power of attorney, healthcare proxy. You don't need a lawyer for healthcare proxy. You can download a New York healthcare proxy from the internet. You just put in healthcare proxy New York, it comes out, you get it signed, and you have a healthcare proxy. Because when you go to hospital with your mom, she's going to need a healthcare proxy. Otherwise, they're going to take away your power to act on behalf of your mom. So all these things, and people could call me. I give you my phone. They could call me if they have a question. They need services, I charge. But if they have a question, they want answered, I have no problem answering it.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for all this information. Is there anything else that you think that someone should know or they should look out for?
I think that we have to start looking out for our own elders. We have to become active. I'm always looking to speak in churches and speak in places, try to inform people. Unfortunately, a lot of times, people get depressed, when I'm telling them how it actually is. But I feel that's my responsibility. So people should get involved. The elderly, they should take their elders to senior centers. The people in senior centers have a plethora of information for free. You don't have to go to a lawyer to get certain paperwork that you need done. There's social workers all over there that do these things. So be involved, okay? Learn, talk to other people, okay? So that you know what's going on in your community or her community. All right, because when you go to a hospital, they'll tell you, "Oh, is this nursing home good?" Oh, all our patients go there, and they all have, they're all taken care of beautifully. Or you talk to the doctor, who also happens to be the doctor in the nursing home, okay, who's never seen, except when it's time to collect his money. And they'll tell you, "Oh, I work in that nursing home, wonderful nursing." So you want to be knowledgeable. You don't just want to accept what people say. And never has there been an area that's so important to be knowledgeable about. You be your own, be your mom's advocate, your dad's advocate, and plan. That's my best advice.
Okay,
All right.
okay. That's awesome. You gave us some good information, and
you.
we're grateful for that.
I
And
appreciate
yeah,
it.
people should get involved and change your mindset. You're right about how we think that the
Absolutely.
government and the city and the state is going to take care of us in the end. And when we get there, it's like we realize, okay, it's a rude awakening.
Correct.
So I'm glad that someone like you are here to be an advocate for elders.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the work you're doing. Thank you for being on Autumn is Here. Thank you for just being able to give us this information, give us something to think about.
Much, and my head's going to swell.
Oh, you're smooth, Jack.
I am smooth.
Thank you again. Please remember to listen to Autumn is Here on all social media platforms. And please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you.